Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. Today we have Clotilda, the last American slave ship, or just last American slave ship. This is a documentary from National Geographic. It is from 2022, last year. It's 44 minutes long, and it probably came out last February around Black History Month, just to give greater understanding as to what went on in the latter days of slavery in America. The reason why this is the last slave ship is because it's an illegal slave ship. Slaves had already been freed, and basically Captain Foster, one among many in the South, who felt that he could make a bet that he could get a slave ship full of human beings up the into Alabama, through the Mobile River. And basically what we have here is a ship that was that brought Africans into Alabama as far as it could get, unloaded them, and then burnt the ship as to prevent anybody from finding out. You can watch the episode, the documentary, to decide to see if he ever got if there was ever justice for the things he did. But how does that always seem to work out? Good, you think? Probably not. Either way, this basically gives this is a touchstone for a number of people who actually get to see where they came from. A number of people of African descent. Again, this is not a common thing for a lot of people who are descendants of slaves. They don't know where they're from in Africa. Pretty much who they were as a people were erased the moment they were captured and thrown onto a ship and moved to Europe, or moved to America, or moved to Europe and then America. Either way, who they were, everything they believed, all their family, how they lived, who they were, their names were taken from them, and they essentially became livestock, inhuman in the eyes of those who purchased them. And this, by the way, the story of the burning of this ship, is 1860. This is not even 200 years old. This is not even 140-ish, a little less than, something like that. It's not that long ago, relatively speaking, in the history of the world, in the history of America. I mean, a lot of us, like myself, have the ability to look at history and go, oh, well, I'm from here. I can get a 23andMe account and have my spit tested, and I can trace it back to this and that and the other thing, and see the 57 other people who've taken the test and I'm related to by fourth cousins or whatever, and determine where that came from. We can look at the Mayflower and say, oh yeah, hey, the Europeans who came over on that ship, hey, guess what? That's those people. There's a little bit of history there. I might be able to tell if maybe one of my ancestors was on the Mayflower because they chose to be. In this case, and as in the case of too many others, people had no such choice, and the idea, the idea of this is that the people who saw Africans as subhuman, as cattle, as property, as something that they could just use as labor, because of the color of their skin, because of the place where they were born, because of the faith that they had. If they hadn't brought them to Europe and America and everything else and enslaved them, well, guess what? They might still just be over there. They wouldn't be over here, really making a mess of their white supremacy, which is kind of great. I mean, I imagine they always thought there'd be slaves forever. Just keep breeding them, and yeah, like we have with chicken. lots of chicken. Apparently eggs are expensive, and we don't seem to have enough eggs. But chicken, you can go anywhere to get chicken. But here you go with the African people. Just, it's astounding the word hubris, maybe, the idea that we were going to continue as a society and go, you know what? Other humans with a slightly different skin color, well, you know what? They're subhuman and they're property. And then, you know, we don't consider them to have souls or even to be people, to be human. That was going to last. And what are you going to get when that doesn't last? Well, guess what? They're free. They are human. And, well, they're still here. They couldn't go back to Africa because everything that they'd gone through, they're just going to go back to Africa like nothing happened. And this is one of the great shames of humanity. I'm sure that I have a what if type book, not Marvel, but I mean a what if type book that might tell the story of what would have happened had we not chosen to enslave people in the last 200-300 years, 400 years, based on these things. It's I know I'm getting way too off topic and speculative, but the point is that you get to see a lot of people here in the modern day visit the location where this ship was sunk. You get to see people who are attempting to raise enough of it to show its size and what it was. A ship that basically, I mean, here is a fragment of it. At one point, they take a number of people who are descendants of the people that were in that ship, take them to like a ball field out in Alabama, and rope off this area that is the exact size of the cargo hold in which these people were kept. 110 people were kept, and it looked not big enough. My apartment is bigger, and that's not saying much. My apartment, my living room is bigger than that cargo hold. And imagining 110 people in my living room right now? No. This is where they slept. This is where they sometimes got to eat. This is where they defecated. This is where they wept and struggled to breathe, to stay alive, and remembering, it's just existing, remembering their home, remembering their families that were, that they left behind. This just shows the level of cruelty that we have as human beings. Not funny, but yeah. Anyway, it's opened my eyes to a number of different things. I mean, again, yes, this was the last slave ship, but it was, to be this last, there had to be hundreds, if not thousands more. And this is just a small piece of that little history that cannot be forgotten, that cannot be ignored, especially by the people who are descendants of those that were brought here against their will. So it's honestly, if you don't have to wait for February or Black History Month to watch this, this is worth your time. No matter who you are, no matter the color of your skin, it's time that you're going to be afraid of three little words. You afraid of little CRT? Dumbasses, seriously. Watch this. Understand humanity, its depths, and its ability to overcome some pretty crappy things. And that's a kind way of putting it. So you get to see the effect it has on these people, the people who had struggled so much, and you get to see there's certain people who told these stories and were kept in journals and things like that, and you get to see how they contrast with the journals kept by Captain Foster, the captain of the Clotilda, and you can see just how different the stories are. It's worth checking out. Let's pick tomorrow's episode.
503.
503. all the way to 503. Come on, keep going. Ha! Okay, we're not doing documentaries or shorts anymore. We're doing a series, and this is actually a series that falls within the Marvel universe, but not originally part of the MCU. This came over from Netflix. So, I've already seen this, but I'm just going to watch, so I'm just going to revisit the pilot. And it is a spin-off of one of the other shows. We're going to be watching The Punisher. So yeah, I'm not going to tell you what I thought about it already, and that's what tomorrow's for, but yeah. I'll just say that I like revisiting stories, revisiting stuff that I've seen already, and see if I can see it in a different light. But yeah, John Barenthal stars as the Punisher on the next Disney Plus Celebrity Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that. Bye.